My name is Delaney Ford. I'm 34, and one text from my sister detonated my entire life. Before the group video call where I blocked them all and jumped on a plane to Raleigh, comment where you're watching from. Tuesday morning in Mesa, Arizona. Phone buzzes mid-email. My sister. Message in caps. Quitting my job. You'll take care of us while I figure it out. Us equals her mom-dad. Take care means I bankroll the house cars her nonstop online shopping debt. I type back, that's not on me. Send. Calls flood ignored. The Raleigh offer I'd stalled on for weeks stares back senior analyst double pay escape route. I hit accept. Contract in. Flight locked. Mom's reply hits hard. Won't help your sister skip Thanksgiving. War started. This was only the opening shot. Still here. Smash that like button and drop a 1 in the comments so I know you made it this far. It fuels me to spill the rest of this wildfire. 2 years earlier, I had finally saved enough for the down payment on my first condo in Mesa. Years of overtime, skipped outings, and careful budgeting had built a solid nest egg, and the realtor's pre-approval letter felt like the finish line. I kept a copy in my desk drawer, pulling it out whenever doubt crept in. The plan was simple, close, in 60 days move-in before fall. Then my phone rang late one evening. It was my dad, Tom Ford, his voice tight with panic. Delaney, we need you at the house now. Your sister Quinn Ford has a serious problem. I grabbed my keys and drove over the letter forgotten on the passenger seat. Mom, Karen Ford, opened the door before I knocked, pulling me inside without a word. Dad waited in the living room, a folder of statements open on the table. Quinn stood by the window, arms folded, staring outside. Dad didn't waste time. Quinn's credit cards are max $35,000 total from online shopping. The collection agency called today. They want payment or they'll sue, garnish wages, the works. $35,000. The number hit like a punch, but it wasn't the full amount I'd saved. Mom added, "We can't let this destroy her future or ours if they come after joint accounts." Quinn turned. I didn't mean for it to get this bad. Things just added up. I sat down and flipped through the printouts. Charges for clothing sites, tech gadgets, beauty subscriptions, even virtual courses she never finished. Dad explained the agency demanded a lump sum to halt legal action. They agreed to $35,000 by tomorrow to pause everything. Mom leaned in. You're the only one who can do this without loans or selling assets. Quinn nodded. Please, sis. I'll figure out a plan after. They gave me the bank routing details, the exact transfer screen ready. Dad reminded me of past help I'd given without question. Mom talked about family reputation in the neighborhood. Quinn promised this was rock bottom. The pressure built until I logged in and initiated the wire. Confirmation came fast, $35,000 gone. Mom exhaled relief. Dad clapped my shoulder. Quinn hugged me quick. You're saving me. Later, I contacted the realtor to pull my offer. She asked if something changed, but I kept it vague. Driving home, I checked my savings balance. Still money there, but the number mocked me, far short of any down payment now. The condo slipped away, replaced by a vague timeline of rebuilding. Dad called to confirm the agency backed off, no lawsuit filed. Quinn texted a heart emoji and lifesaver. Mom sent a group message praising my quick action. Work became my focus after that. I took on extra reports, stayed late to pad hours, but every deposit felt smaller. Bryce asked why I seemed distant during our dates, and I brushed it off as deadlines. Family dinners continued with Mom mentioning Quinn's fresh start, and Dad changing subjects when bills came up. Quinn ordered smaller packages now, but they still arrived regularly. One weekend, I cleaned out my desk and found the old pre-approval letter. The property photos showed a bright living room, a balcony with mountain views. I folded it away, the dream on hold indefinitely. Rebuilding would take time, and the pattern felt familiar. Mom called occasionally with updates on Quinn's job searches that never panned out. Dad avoided money talk. Quinn posted about new beginnings online. Nights alone, I ran numbers in spreadsheets projecting how long until I could try again. The gap looked wider each calculation. Bryce noticed the late-night screen glow and suggested talking it out, but I wasn't ready. The transfer had bought peace for them, tension for me. Savings rebuilt slowly always, with the unspoken expectation of the next crisis. A few months ago, the 4th of July barbecue filled the backyard in Mesa with the smell of charcoal and laughter. Dad manned the grill, flipping burgers and ribs while neighbors drifted in with side dishes and coolers. The patio table groaned under potato salad, corn on the cob, and pies Mom had baked that morning. Quinn lounged in a lawn chair, phone in hand, snapping selfies with sparklers before the sun even set. I arrived with a case of sodas and a tray of watermelon, slipping into the routine like always. As the sky turned orange, Dad raised his plastic cup of lemonade and cleared his throat. "Everyone, a quick toast to the one who makes these gatherings possible, Delaney, our rock." Cheers erupted, cups clinking, and I forced a smile while Quinn clapped loudest. She leaned over. "Yeah, thanks for funding the fun, sis." The comment landed light to everyone else, but it stung me. Dad continued grilling, oblivious, while Mom circulated with refills, her face glowing under string lights. Halfway through eating, Mom suddenly clutched her chest and sank into a chair. "Oh, my heart feels funny again," she gasped, fanning herself. The chatter stopped. Dad dropped the tongs and rushed over. Quinn jumped up. "Mom, sit still. Delaney, get water." I handed over a bottle, watching Mom sip dramatically. She locked eyes with me. "It's the stress, you know." Quinn's still figuring out her path, and it weighs on me. Dad nodded solemnly. "We need to keep things stable for her sake." Quinn chimed in. "Exactly. If I had more support, I could focus on building something real." Mom patted her hand. "Delaney understands family comes first." The neighbors murmured sympathy, one aunt pulling Mom into a hug. I stood there, plate in hand, feeling the spotlight tighten. Dad resumed grilling but shot me a look that said, "Handle this." Quinn whispered, "See, even Mom's health depends on it." Later, as fireworks prep started, my Aunt Lynn Ford pulled me aside near the fence. She squeezed my arm. "You're carrying a lot, kiddo. I get it, parents can lean hard." Her tone felt genuine, so I opened up a bit. "There's this opening in Raleigh I'm considering. Better pay senior role." Aunt Lynn's eyes widened. "That's huge. When would you go?" I explained the timeline, the interview process, how it could change everything. She nodded thoughtfully. "You deserve that break. Just don't let guilt hold you back." The conversation flowed easy, and for once I felt seen. Aunt Lynn asked specific salary bump, relocation package, start date. I shared details I'd kept quiet about, relieved to voice the excitement. She hugged me. "Proud of you. Keep me posted." Fireworks cracked overhead, reds and blues lighting the yard. Quinn filmed the display for her stories, captioning it "Family Forever." Back at the table for dessert, Mom had recovered, fully slicing pie and laughing with guests. She caught my eye and mouthed, "Thank you," assuming my silence meant agreement to step up more. Dad passed me a slice. "Great night because of you." Quinn posted a group photo tagging everyone but cropping me half out. By the time I drove home, my phone lit with notifications. Mom had shared an album on Facebook, "Blessed Fourth," with my amazing family special, thanks to Delaney for making it all happen. Comments poured in, hearts, fire emojis. Then Aunt Lynn's reply popped up top. "So true, Delaney's the best, rooting for her big moves." The post racked likes fast, painting me as the hero provider. I scrolled through, mix of warmth and weight settling in. Quinn added her own comment, "Love my sis, she always comes through." The evening replayed in my head during the quiet drive. Mom's episode timed perfectly with talk of Quinn's needs. Dad's toast set the stage. Aunt Lynn's support felt real, but sharing the Raleigh details left me exposed in a way I hadn't planned. Still, the idea of escape lingered stronger. Work the next day would bring spreadsheets and meetings, but the barbecue reinforced the invisible contract I'd been signing for years. Neighbors waved goodbye as I left oblivious to the undercurrents. Quinn texted a firework emoji, nothing more. Cleaning up alone in my apartment, I wiped counters and stored leftovers, replaying conversations. Mom's health scare shifted focus back to Quinn every time. Dad enabled without question. Aunt Lynn seemed different, an ally maybe. The Facebook post cemented the narrative publicly. I set the phone down, exhausted from performing gratitude. Sleep came, slow dreams mixing grill smoke with distant city lights. A month before that Tuesday, Quinn burst into my apartment waving her laptop like a trophy. I found it the perfect graphic design masterclass online. It's $3,000, but it'll launch my career. She had the enrollment page, open testimonials, glowing curriculum packed with software tutorials and portfolio building. I hesitated, remembering past promises, but Quinn insisted this was different. No more dead-end jobs. I'll be freelance in 6 months. Mom had already texted approval earlier that day, calling it an investment in Quinn's future. I pulled up my banking app during lunch break the next day and transferred the $3,000. Quinn sent a string of celebration emojis and a voice note screaming thanks. The course started immediately, daily live sessions and assignments. For the first week, Quinn posted progress updates, screenshots of vector art, color theory notes. She even set up a dedicated workspace in the spare room at home. Then the updates slowed. By week 2, Quinn complained during a quick call. The instructor doesn't get my style. His feedback is so basic. I asked if she submitted the projects. Some, but why bother if he's clueless? She dropped the course officially a day later, citing lack of vision from the program. The refund window had closed after 14 days, so the money vanished. Quinn shrugged it off. Not the right fit. Next one will be better. That evening, Mom called while I prepped dinner. Sweetie, I'm so proud of how responsible you are. Quinn's exploring her talents, and you make it possible. Her praise flowed, then shifted. She's thinking of starting a YouTube channel on design tips. Needs a new camera and editing software. Maybe you could sponsor the setup. I gripped the phone tighter, stirring pasta harder than needed. Mom continued. It would give her structure, something to build on after that course didn't pan out. My boyfriend Bryce Keller walked in midway through the call carrying takeout bags since I'd forgotten our plans. He caught the tail end and raised an eyebrow. I ended the conversation with a vague maybe and hung up. Bryce set the food down. Let me guess, another Quinn project. I nodded, explaining the abandoned class and the new channel idea. He listened without interrupting, then spoke evenly. This isn't support anymore, Delaney. It's enabling. You're funding a cycle that never ends. I defended the pattern at first. If I say no, Mom cries for days. Dad shuts down. Quinn spirals. Bryce leaned against the counter. And you burn out. How many times has this happened? The money goes out, the effort lasts a week, then it's on to the next shiny thing. He pointed out the math. I earned well, but the outflows chipped away constantly. Set a boundary. One clear. No changes, everything. We ate in silence for a bit, the weight settling. I admitted the exhaustion, the way resentment simmered under every family interaction. Pushing back feels like betrayal, Bryce countered. Staying silent betrays yourself. You're not their retirement plan. His words stuck, but fear of confrontation won that night. I changed the subject to work, avoiding the deeper commit. Over the following weeks, Quinn sent links to equipment, ring lights, microphones, subscription software. Each message carried excitement, promises of payback once monetization kicked in. Mom forwarded emails from influencer coaches, quoting setup costs. Dad stayed quiet, his usual tactic. I responded with delays, then small agreements to keep peace. Bryce noticed the new charges on statements we reviewed together. This is the limit you didn't set. One quiet Sunday, I sat with coffee and opened a new spreadsheet listing every transfer since the condo setback. The totals climbed fast, a visual map of enabling. Quinn called that afternoon, voice bubbly about channel themes. I listened, then gently declined the latest request. Find a way within budget. She huffed, but moved on quick. Mom tried guilt the next day, but I held the line, citing my own goals. The pushback felt foreign, shaky, yet necessary. Bryce praised the small win over dinner. SeaWorld didn't end, but the internal tug remained, years of conditioning hard to unwind overnight. Quinn pivoted to free tools, complaining less. Mom adjusted her asks. The shift started subtle, a crack in the foundation I'd built my role on. Back to that Tuesday morning, Quinn's text still glowed on my screen. Quitting my job. You'll take care of us while I figure it out. My sister quit her job and assumed I'd support them. I assumed I'd move far, far away. The words fueled something final, and within minutes I acted. I logged into the family phone plan and removed Quinn's line, effective immediately. Next, the auto insurance portal deleted her car from my policy. Then the bank app, where I canceled the monthly transfer labeled Quinn Allowance and revoked Mom's supplemental card tied to my account. Every click felt like severing a vein, but the bleeding had to stop. The backlash started before I finished breakfast. Quinn called first, her voice shrill through voicemail, since texts now failed. What did you do to my phone? I have no service. I let it ring out. Dad followed, leaving a curt message. Call me right now. This isn't how we handle things. Mom's text arrived in all caps. Someone hacked our accounts, fraud alert. She attached screenshots of declined charges at a coffee drive-thru. Quinn tried FaceTime, but without data, it bounced. I sipped coffee, watching notifications pile like unpaid bills. By mid-morning, Aunt Lynn called from her landline, tone soft and concerned. Delaney, your mom mentioned trouble with payments. Everything okay on your end? I explained the changes, briefly framing it as budget realignment. Aunt Lynn listened, murmuring understanding. Smart to protect yourself. How's work treating you these days? The shift felt natural, so I mentioned the Raleigh opportunity again, the one I'd shared at the barbecue. A senior analyst, lead relocation in a few weeks if I take it. She asked for details: start date, housing allowance, team size. I answered, openly grateful for the neutral ear. Aunt Lynn probed gently. Have you told your parents yet? I admitted no, still processing. They'll come around once they see the benefits, she said. The call ended on a supportive note, her promising to keep it quiet until I was ready. I hung up, feeling lighter, the cuts justified by this small alliance. Lunchtime brought a flood from Mom, a paragraph accusing me of sabotage. Quinn can't even call for help now. This is cruel. Dad sent a follow-up. Fix the insurance before she drives. Quinn managed a message through Wi-Fi. You're overreacting. Undo this. I responded to none, focusing on spreadsheets instead. The silence from my side amplified their panic. Late afternoon, Mom's messages escalated. Aunt Lynn just told me about Raleigh. You've been planning to abandon us this whole time. The betrayal hit hard. Aunt Lynn had relayed everything within hours. Mom continued, cutting us off the day Quinn needs stability most. Selfish. She attached a screenshot of Aunt Lynn's text confirming my job details. Dad chimed in. We raised you better than this. Quinn added fuel. Guess family means nothing when a fancy title calls. I stared at the chain, the manipulation clear now. Aunt Lynn's call wasn't support. It was reconnaissance. She fed Mom ammunition to guilt me back into line. The Raleigh plan, meant as escape, became evidence of desertion. Mom posted vaguely on social media about disappointment in those closest, tagging relatives. Comments trickled in, siding with her without knowing facts. Bryce texted during my commute home. Heard the explosion from here. Proud you held the line. His encouragement steadied me. I cooked a simple meal, ignoring the buzzing phone. Voicemails stacked, Mom pleading, then accusing. Dad demanding a family meeting. Quinn threatening to show up unannounced. Each one reinforced the decision. The financial cords severed, emotional ones frayed but intact for now. Evening brought a knock I ignored, peeking to see Quinn's car outside before she left. Mom tried video chat, but I declined. The house felt quieter without the constant ping of demands. I reviewed the Raleigh contract again, the clauses on relocation assistance a lifeline. Cutting support wasn't revenge, it was survival. Their reactions proved the dependency ran deeper than money. By bedtime, the messages slowed to a drip. Mom sent one last novel. You've broken your father's heart. Think about what you've done. I powered off the phone the first full night without interruptions in years. The assumption I'd always provide shattered, replaced by my own plan to vanish across states. Raleigh waited a clean slate without supplemental cards or shared plans. The cuts held firm overnight. No reversals, no weak moments. Morning would bring work and whatever fallout, but the power shifted. Quinn's quit notice sparked my exit strategy. They assumed endless support. I assumed distance. The war of texts raged, but the battlefield tilted. The next day at the office, I arrived early to clear my inbox before the storm hit. The building buzzed with usual Wednesday energy coffee machines, humming printers, warming up. I settled at my desk reviewing quarterly reports when Shelby Grant approached with 2 mugs. She slid one across. "Thought you could use this? You look like you wrestled a spreadsheet all night." Her smile seemed friendly, the kind shared over water cooler gossip. I accepted the coffee, grateful for the gesture. Shelby pulled a chair closer. "Everything all right? You were quiet in yesterday's meeting." The question opened the door just enough. I kept it vague, mentioning family tension without names or numbers. My sister's between jobs, parents expecting more than I can give. Decided to draw some lines. Shelby nodded sympathetically. Siblings can be a handful. My brother once drained my savings on a bad investment. Boundaries saved me. The conversation stayed light, touching on work stress and weekend plans. Shelby asked about the Raleigh posting I'd applied for internally. Heard it's a big step up? Nervous. I admitted excitement mixed with logistics worry. She leaned in. "You've earned it. Don't let home drama derail you." We parted ways as the team huddle started, her encouragement lingering. Mid-morning, my manager requested a private chat in the conference room. Mr. Harlan, the department head, closed the door and gestured to a seat. "Delaney HR flagged a concern from a colleague about your stability for the Raleigh role." My pulse quickened. Only Shelby knew fragments. Mr. Harlan continued. "They mentioned family issues impacting focus. The position requires full commitment, especially with relocation." I maintained composure, recalling performance metrics. My reviews speak for themselves. Top quartile, 3 years running, 0 missed deadlines. Mr. Harlan reviewed notes. True, but leadership wants assurance. Personal matters won't bleed into the transition. The implication hung heavy. Shelby had twisted casual talk into doubt. I presented evidence calmly. "Family adjustments are handled. I've accepted the offer contingent on this discussion. My relocation packet is submitted, housing secured." Mr. Harlan scanned my file. The concern came anonymously, but specifics matched your profile. Shelby's handiwork confirmed. I countered with project successes, client feedback, and a readiness statement for Raleigh's demands. Mr. Harlan listened, flipping pages. "Your track record is strong. We'll proceed, but monitor the first quarter closely." Relief washed over me, tempered by betrayal. The meeting ended with a handshake and reminder to keep personal life separate. Back at my desk, Shelby waved from across the floor, oblivious or feigning it. Lunch provided space to process. I ate at a corner table, replaying the exchange. Shelby's questions now felt calculated, probing for weakness to exploit. The Raleigh job represented her ceiling. My move opened a spot she coveted. Anonymous tip made sense. Direct confrontation risked exposure. Afternoon tasks flew by on autopilot. Team emails praised my latest analysis, unaware of the undercurrent. Shelby stopped by again, offering help on a dataset. "Need a second pair of eyes." I declined politely, citing deadlines. Her expression flickered, but she moved on. The dynamic shifted. Trust eroded in one morning. End of day, Mr. Harlan emailed confirmation, Raleigh approved, start date locked. "Impressed with your defense. Focus forward." Shelby's attempt backfired, strengthening my case. I packed my laptop, the victory bittersweet. Colleagues filtered out chatting about happy hour. I skipped needing solitude to recalibrate. Driving home, the office politics mirrored family games information, weaponized for control. Shelby underestimated my preparation. The job stayed mine, a ticket out. Parking in my spot, I checked messages. Family ones silenced since the cuts. Work sabotage failed where guilt had succeeded for years. Bryce called during dinner prep. Heard you crushed it today. News traveled fast in our circle. I shared the Shelby twist. She thought drama would sink me. Bryce laughed. Instead, it floated you higher. The support grounded me. Raleigh loomed closer, professional armor intact. That same evening, the doorbell rang while I unpacked groceries. Through the peephole, Mom stood on the step, eyes puffy, clutching a tissue. I opened the door a crack. What are you doing here? She pushed past gently. We need to talk face to face. This has gone too far. Dad waited in the car, engine running. Quinn stayed home per Mom's explanation. Inside, Mom paced the living room, launching into pleas. Quinn's a mess without your help. The phone, the car insurance. How is she supposed to job hunt? I offered water, staying calm. She quit without a plan. That's on her. Mom ignored the point. The collection calls started again. They want the full balance or legal action resumes. She pulled out crumpled letters, the debt now ballooned to $120,000 with fees. Dad entered, then shutting the door firmly. Enough games. We need you to co-sign a consolidation loan. Banks won't touch us alone. The ask landed heavy, my credit tied to their chaos forever. Mom added pressure. It's the only way to stop foreclosure threats on the house. Dad nodded. Family pulls together. I retrieved my laptop, opening a video call app. If we're doing this, everyone hears it. Quinn joined from her room, face flushed. Aunt Lynn popped in uninvited. Mom must have looped her. The screen filled with accusations. Quinn started. You cut me off cold? I have interviews lined up, but no way to get there. Aunt Lynn chimed. Delaney, think of your parents' stress. Dad laid out terms, a loan covering the debt, my name secondary. Payment split, but your signature secures it. Mom tearfully agreed. Please, before they take the house. The manipulation piqued, voices overlapping in guilt. My phone vibrated separately. Mr. Fletcher from Raleigh. I answered on speaker by accident. Delaney, transport arranged for Friday. Team excited. The call silenced the family screen. Mr. Fletcher continued. Any last questions on the package? I seized the moment. None. See you soon. Hung up, facing them. Quinn exploded. You're leaving now after everything, Mom gasped. Rally over us, Dad demanded. Choose. I chose. No cosign. No more support. My life moves forward. Aunt Lynn muttered about ingratitude. Quinn threatened exposure online. Mom begged one last time. I ended the video call, blocking numbers mid-protest. Dad stood. This is final. I nodded. They left without another word, car pulling away. The house fell silent, the weight lifting instantly. 3 weeks later, I stood in my new Raleigh apartment, boxes, half-unpacked, morning light streaming through wide windows. Bryce arrived that same weekend, duffel in hand, having secured a transfer within his company. He dropped the bag, wrapped me in a hug, and surveyed the space. Home sweet home for both of us. We spent the day arranging furniture, planning runs along the greenway, and cooking our first meal together in the new kitchen. An email arrived from Avery Thompson, Quinn's old friend. Quinn used my info for cards too. I'm suing to clear my name. Sorry I enabled her. The message validated everything. A voicemail followed from Mom, voice weary. We sold the house, downsized to an apartment. Quinn enrolled in mandatory debt counseling through the agency. No choice now, Dad added in the background. She starts community college part-time. No apology, just facts. I saved the voicemail, deleted others. Raleigh brought new rhythms, Bryce and I carpooling to our offices, weekend hikes, team lunches without drama. Mr. Fletcher mentored directly. Bryce thrived in his new role. We built routines side by side, no more long-distance calls or separate plans. Quinn's consequences mounted credit-frozen counseling sessions, logged part-time job at a cafe to cover basics. Mom and Dad adjusted to fixed income, no supplemental cards. Aunt Lynn's meddling backfired when relatives learned the full debt, distancing themselves. Shelby's office sabotage earned a warning after my promotion shone. The lesson crystallized: boundaries aren't betrayal, they're oxygen. Enabling prolongs pain for everyone. I rebuilt savings faster without leaks. Condo dreams revived in North Carolina with Bryce planning beside me. Family contact ceased, no holidays, no updates. Freedom tasted like independence earned, shared with the one who always stood firm. To everyone who listened through the end, thank you for sticking with this journey. It means the world. What boundaries have you set that changed your life? Share in the comments. I read everyone. If this resonated, like and subscribe for more real stories.